Good morning, everyone. We are following breaking news out of Mission Valley. One person has died after crashing into a semi-truck.
Now, this happened about 2:20 this morning on the northbound side of the 15 at the I-8 interchange, a very busy area. You see how wet it is on the interstate. CHP says a car was trapped underneath a jackknifed Amazon semi-truck. That's the big semi you see there across all lanes. The woman in that car died, and the Amazon truck driver was not hurt. A SIG alert was issued, but we do have the latest update that lanes are reopening at this very moment. So hopefully traffic will kind of get a little smoother in that area.
Yeah, slick roads, not the only crash out there. Evan, you're keeping track of it all out there.
Yeah, the two main things that we're tracking this morning are just around the greater downtown area. We've got, of course, as you mentioned, that 15 crash as it meets the 8. That main roadway still closed with a jackknife vehicle there that they're working to open up again. Farther south on the 805, where the 805 meets the 15, we have restrictions due to flooding. It looks like there is at least more than just that normal ponding that we can see as these showers develop. That is actual flooding. So important to keep in mind that that is what we see in terms of restrictions on the 805 southbound as it meets the 15. And when we talk about our forecast this morning, we've seen plenty of showers that have come through over the last several hours. We still see the potential for more showers and even convective activity into the morning. Between now and about noon, we're going to continue with several rounds of showers on and off all the way through the day. There's that first wave that passed through. Here's the next one that's on the way just off of the Pacific, and it is going to make its way to that coastline likely within the next hour or so. So that's when we see that bulk of activity pick up once again. For now, we're in a little bit of a lull, but we'll have activity come back once again into 7 and 8 a.m. as we expect it. Take a look at what the forecast looks like. Temperatures are going to be in the low 60s along the coastline today, upper 50s inland, rain across the board with showeries tapering off throughout the morning. Still the potential for more thunderstorms in the mix between now and about your noon hour. Things do start to lessen up in their intensity by the afternoon or so, but so far we've already picked up on 75 cloud to ground strikes of lightning. We have more in the forecast. Again, as I mentioned, do not let your guard down with this one. We still have several additional rounds that are coming our way between now and the end of your day. The bulk of it between now and noon, and afternoon we'll start to see things lighten up just a bit. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Evan. And you can stay up to date on this storm by downloading our free CBS 8 app. You can receive the latest weather alerts right there. We also have a look at the radar so you can keep track of everything. And we want to see the weather where you live. Upload your photos and videos through the CBS 8 app as well. You just click on the Near Me feature. It's right there at the bottom right of your app, of the app when you open it, and you can share those with us.
This morning, the man convicted of killing a San Diego police officer back in 2016 will be sentenced. Jesse Gomez fatally shot Officer Jonathan J.D. de Guzman during a stop in Southcrest. Gomez was also found guilty of premeditated attempted murder of de Guzman's partner, Officer Wade Irwin. The judge could sentence Gomez to death, as the jury recommended, or to life in prison. A San Diego police officer is out of the hospital this morning after being stabbed. The woman who reportedly stabbed him was shot and killed by law enforcement. This happened around 12:30 yesterday at an apartment complex in Little Italy. Court services deputies were trying to serve the woman with some paperwork, but she was uncooperative. Authorities say the woman eventually opened the door holding a knife and stabbed a canine handler, which prompted 3 deputies and 1 officer to shoot. The officer and deputies involved are on routine paid administrative leave during this investigation.
Turning now to what's happening in Ukraine. A fire at the largest nuclear power plant in Europe is now out this morning after it was shelled by Russian forces. I mean, look at that video. 3 people were killed in this, 2 others were injured. Russian forces have reportedly taken control of this facility. Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
Russian troops attacked Europe's largest nuclear power plant overnight. Security footage shows flares landing on a building, smoke from a fire, and streaks of light from likely gunfire. Ukrainian officials say the attack did not damage essential equipment and there was no change to radiation levels. In a video posted to Facebook, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky called Russia a terrorist country that's reverted to nuclear terror, and that attacking the plant could lead to the end of Europe. A second round of talks between the two countries yesterday created safe corridors to allow for evacuations and humanitarian aid. But Zelensky says he wants to talk directly with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I have to talk with Putin. The world has to talk with Putin, because there are no other ways to stop this war.
In recent days, Russia has stepped up the brutality with an increased bombardment of major cities and civilian areas. This dashcam video captures the moment a rocket hit in the northern city of Chernihiv.
Cutting off access.
At the White House, President Biden announced a new round of sanctions to keep the economic pressure on Moscow.
And the goal was to maximize the impact on Putin.
The Biden administration is also asking Congress for $10 billion in humanitarian and military aid for Ukraine. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Really hard to see what's happening there. New this morning, the average price for a gallon of gas in San Diego. Now we're over $5 for the first time. You see that number right there. Now that's where we're at. It went up $12.9 cents, excuse me, to now $5.10. That's the largest daily increase since July of 2015. Analysts say the spike is because of a possible supply shortage, since traders, shippers, insurance companies, and banks are all avoiding Russian oil transactions. Bipartisan lawmakers are pressuring President Biden to completely ban Russian oil imports, but White House officials say they do not want higher energy and gas prices.
Thousands of sailors and Marines are returning home this morning. They are part of the Essex Amphibious Ready Group. And CBS 8's Chris Groh is live at Naval Base San Diego with more on this big homecoming here. Hi, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Eric. And look, this is always a very happy day, especially for those service members who are returning home to their home port here in San Diego, but also for those families that will be anxiously waiting, even with the weather that we have. And earlier this week, some other members of that USS Essex Amphibious Ready Group returned to Camp Pendleton into that area. We were there for that reunion, for that homecoming as well, too. So again, these service members, as part of this Amphibious Ready Group, this is a combination of Marines and sailors. These are ships that help bring out these Marines as well as their equipment and their vehicles out for what has been this deployment. So they were actually out in the 3rd, the 5th, and 7th Fleet areas of operation. And again, this was a 7-month deployment. So they are on their way back. We do expect to see that ship pulling in to the port right around 9 a.m. That's when we're told that we could get eyes on it, but that it will officially be docked sometime around 9:30 in the morning, and we could be seeing a lot of those reunions happening between then and 10 o'clock. So back out here live again, we're anxiously awaiting, just as you might imagine, some of these family members are as well too. So today again, we'll be covering the return here of this USS Essex Amphibious Ready Group. Eric and Netta.
Boy, you can hear the crackling, right? The pops there, that's rain. Lightning in San Marcos as this storm arrived overnight. This video was taken around 2 a.m. Shortly after that, around 2:30, we heard a big boom in the North County.
Big crack.
And just followed by those buckets of rain. And then it kind of stopped, and pretty warm out with all that cloud cover, too, I noticed.
Yeah, I guess that helps. But yeah, I definitely noticed it's wet everywhere. So while a lot of people were sleeping, that's what happened.
That's right.
Yeah.
And our live camera outside agrees with that. This is our new Mount Soledad camera, and when we zoom it out full, this is the view. I mean, it gives you a good idea of what we're contending with, right? Plenty of showers outside right now, and fog as you look out from the mountaintops toward, of course, your coastline. That's where we're encountering the majority of that fog at the higher elevation, because those clouds are not too low to the ground right now. What we do have pretty low to the ground are those showers. Take a look. Chula Vista right now having a thunderstorm pass through. That's what you see. You see that lightning bolt there on the screen for your current conditions. Across other parts of the county, downtown San Diego, for example, also seeing a thunderstorm pass through overhead as we speak. 52 degrees right now in Oceanside with some rain activity. Escondido and Poway are dry right now briefly before we see the next wave arrive. We'll look at what our current satellite loop looks like in just one second. High surf advisory along the coastline. This has been issued all the way through your Sunday, so important to keep in mind this will be a long-lasting one, 3 days or so on the high surf advisory. Winter weather advisory over the mountaintops all the way through your Sunday at 2 a.m. and then a wind advisory for your deserts through Saturday at 4 p.m. These are all kind of in conjunction with this low that is sinking in, and that brought many showers through the early morning hours. Between about midnight and 4 a.m. or so, That was where we saw this first wave arrive. It passed inland, and then now we've got this next one on the way. When we're talking about these showers and thunderstorms as we speak, you could see how if we run through and pause this really briefly, that's where we're seeing the bulk of activity as we speak right now, between about downtown and the South Bay. Up around North County, scattered activity will continue throughout the day. We've got another wave that is just right off the Pacific. So here it is, making its way toward your about Oceanside, greater Oceanside area, and that means that in the next several hours, we still have several showers that are on the way. So here's that next wave as it passes through between about 7 and 8 a.m. is where we'll see it. Past about 11 a.m. is where we see most of that activity lessen up in its intensity, but we still have several waves that'll come through. So do not expect all of this to taper off by the time we get to the end of the day. It looks like we'll see the bulk of it, the majority of major impactful weather between now and noon. After noon today, all the way through your Saturday and Sunday is where we see less activity taking place. Sunday is where we see most of that really lessen up. Take a look though, showers and thunderstorms still continue with a pretty decent impact all the way through the rest of your 6 a.m. hour, as well as through about 10 a.m. and noon. Afternoon, we could see the sun peek out for a minute or two, but just briefly. When we look at traffic, there's just a lot to mention. So I want to point out that it is not normal for us to be encountering this many crashes and collisions. That means a lot of people are having difficulty on the roads this morning. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different crashes just in the greater downtown San Diego area. That means there are a lot of people who are not playing it safe this morning. You want to make sure you're planning on slower speeds out there for that morning commute as you head outside.